There we go. Sorry about that. Another live stream. Another world building live stream. I got to look around my mimic mic, or mimic as people have been calling it. Yeah, sorry about that. I had some problems with my computer where I had to disconnect every single USB device and reconnect every USB device. None of my external hard drives were working. It was a nightmare. But it was one of those days where you have 3 things go bad, and that was the 3rd thing. So I was just like, okay, if I just get this sorted out, it'll be fine. And I was right. There we go. There we go. Thanks, guys. Thank you for pointing that out. It's always very important. Yeah, this is the mimic. Don't get your fingers too close to the mouth. So yeah, fantasy setting a city of some kind, and it's really largely up to you. I'm just going to pop over to scene number 2. Hey, here we go. So make sure we've still got camera. Yeah, we go. Okay, we're good. And of course, our first ingredient is nice piping hot steaming cup of coffee. This is Robert Harris Irish cream coffee. Yeah, as always, technical difficulties. I'm just going to bring the microphone over a bit more. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be world building today. And we're going to go with a fantasy city. Now, the question is that in focus? Question is, what sort of a city are we going to be building today? A Spelljammer city, that's a good suggestion. How's my cat? My cat's absolutely fantastic. She's having the best first summer of her, well, this is her 2nd summer of her life. No hive city, that would be fun. It could be a Spelljammer hive city. A building's mostly made out of glass from flail snails, maybe? Oh, yeah. Was it flail? I assume you're going to... That was flail snails, not flail emails. Hey, James. I'll just a reminder to everybody that this is a super chat enabled live stream. Oh, also, you can see in the background here, just tentatively up here, is a Carl... graphic designer Carl extraordinaire is working on my next merch designs. So this is a deeply nerdy shirt design, which is going to be on my spring store coming up after Christmas. He's also working on a grab yourself a tasty beverage shirt as well. A Rockport Asteroid Spelljam City. Well, I mean, we could have exodigitals in this asteroid type city. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, thanks, Jack. And your videos about the ethereal Imaska have got me wondering, how would that city exist? Ooh, well, we're going to go into some details there. There's really no details on the Deep Amascari or how their cities and stuff are set up. So we kind of got open license to theorize about that. In fact, we could actually design some sort of a demiplane city if we wanted. I'm not going to go anywhere near the false Hydra city because that's just doomed. A jungle city with old high-tech out of use. Oh, actually, I recently had a live stream with Dungeon Dad and Esper and Fred and myself where we did a thought exercise where we built a jungle city. So that's in an upcoming video, so we're going to get to see that. So I like the idea of a planar city of some kind. Swampy slums with kobolds, goblins, grungs, bullywugs, and dozens of other similar creatures. That's more of a swamp theme. Swampy. So that would go with our last sort of environment. Ooze City from the new Ooze race. Could do. Long time viewer, but first time catching a live. Perhaps a city that exists half above sea level and half below. Oh, I like it. Yes, if an aquatic species did have their world destroyed, they would create aquatic environments for themselves in space. Githyanki with Dragonmount City. Yeah, well, we've kind of got that with the Splugorth City. Nice, Pal Rider. Palladium reference for the win. A city on the interior of an immense dodecahedron. Well, I'm not going to draw that this morning. That would be crazy. A swamp with a giant ooze as the water. Nice one, Paul. Okay, so let's say we've got a. This is a city. A city of. Shall we go with Deep Ethereal? So Deep Amascari is the Amascari people are the remnants of a magocracy of artificer kings. So they used less of the nuanced magic that they used in Netheril and more of primal sort of elemental magic. Portal magic and things like that the Batraki used. So they used elemental planes, elemental magic, and portal magic. So they could transport one thing from another pretty easily. And when they retreated from the world, because their slave population originally from Earth brought their gods over to the world of Tyrell, and the gods basically manifested avatars which the Artificer Kings, because they weren't God-fearing folk, took on in their hubris, believing that they were just, gods were just super powerful beings, and they were super powerful beings, so they thought it was an even match. It turns out it was not. All that remains of the surface world of their empire is the plains of purple dust and broken purple towers. Oh, my cat is making herself known at the door. Meow. Hang on a second. Hey, come on in. Okay, just going to pop back over. So the Deep Amascari are definitely a good option. Come here. Ooh. Careful that cord. So the city is going to be a demiplane. Hey, Morgan. A modular city with spelljammers as buildings. Okay, so let's say we've got spelljamming ships that operate out of a demiplane in the ethereal plane. That means the ships would have the ability to transport themselves through the border ethereal plane, or the curtain of. So this could be a city in the deep ethereal. So it's a demiplane in and of itself with its own rules, and they've got ships that they build there that they can spelljam with back into the prime material plane. So that's interesting. Yeah, if the city has a trade district, who would the Deep Ethereal be trading with? Probably races like the Neogi, the Arcane, things like that. One of the things that they would want living in the Deep Ethereal is probably sources of exotic foods and wines and drinks and things, because it's difficult to grow and replicate things like that unless you took them with you. So that could be interesting. What do you think the ships look like? Well, they came from an era where their slave races were from Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt and Babylon. Right, so these would be lantern sail type ships, but with a technological twist to them. Hey, Matt Nerdy. Spices, yeah. Sound devices that keep things going? Yeah. It's always gnomes. Do the Deep Amascari have agriculture? Yes, they do. They would be of the sort of flood the plains and grow rice variety. Think ancient Egypt, but technological. What's up? What have you been up to, Cat? I bet she's going to jump up on here as soon as I start drawing something. They trade with the plasmoids for that sweet, sweet ooze. Oh, she's obviously been out in the sunshine. She's just flumped onto the carpet. All right. So a modular city with spelljammers as buildings. I do like this. Okay. It's a spelljamming port. Within the Deep Ethereal. So modular, just going to grab a pencil here. And of course these are demiplanes, their own border planes, border ethereal around them. And maybe something central which is not accessible from the border ethereal. A defensive measure. A cut-off central area that they can retreat to and close the portals behind them. So center. And then each one of these would be some sort of function of their society. Now, the thing that's always sort of struck me instinctually with the Deep Amascari, oh, this is very light, hang on, would be that they're organized around individuals, families, lineages that of the original people who went and hid themselves away in the Deep Ethereal. Is somewhere in the Underdark, maybe. So we'll represent the border ethereal as a hazy line of mist. Bit of false perspective here. And within these realms, so I imagine some of them are more population based. So we've got wizardly-like towers. Now, the Imaskari were known to build great towers, humongous. So great big pyramidal style super tower with many spire buildings on the outside in the form of Egyptian-style monuments, just sort of like a bit of Egyptian style meets Art Deco, steampunk. That is basically Imaskari in a nutshell, if you ask me. Have a little Art Deco. Decal. Okay. There's actually a city in New Zealand which is famous for its Art Deco architecture. From my ethereal series, thanks Kajak, from my ethereal videos, the idea of a campaign similar Revenge of the Sith, except it's the return of the Imaskari. The spelljamming idea is also great. Nice, I like it. Made a brief mention of it in the Fire Newt video. Yeah, I did. No, we're not in the Dornut universe. No. So each one of my world builds is a separate thing. So this is a fantasy city build, not a world build. It only makes sense when AJ talks about it. It's true. Yeah, they're purple stone. Now, in this case, they coalesce ethereal matter. So everything is base primal matter that they coalesce into the stuff. So they drain it out of the border ethereal of other worlds. It's elemental energy. So all of the stuff that they make is excessively pure. So you don't get things like aggregate stone and things like that. It's either pure granite or pure diamond or pure crystal. Or alloys that they've specifically made for those reasons. So we have population spheres of pyramids, great big arenas, everything's symmetrical. One of the things that the Egyptians did, the ancient Egyptians, have a promenade of other structures here. Now these are huge. So the Empire State Building would be like here, right? Beep. Massive. So you can imagine what a promenade going into one of these edifices would be like. And also the population are flying around because they set the physics in these places. So they can have any sort of structures they want, including things like flying pyramids, hovering, or upside down pyramids. And dolmens and orbs and things like that are floating around, that are also like populated, or laboratories and things like that. And it doesn't have to be like a consistent ground. It could be that these things are you know, up and down and right way up. So complicated city, so this would be Monument City. Or Monumental City. Of crystal and gold. And in this case, we've got a floating portal. A huge, big sparking energy, elemental power waygate. It's also shining light across this. And they'd have other waygates to other places like, you know, Deep Ethereal and other places like that. And each one of these waygates is powered by sort of mythal technology. Now, to get from one to the other, they can just travel through the border ethereal plane. So as you get to the outer edge, vision becomes misty, and it's like a domain of dread. There's a misty wall around this place. And then you'd pass through that and then into the next area. And this one could be where the spelljamming ships are being constructed. Of whatever design you happen to want to use. I'm thinking like a what did they use in ancient Egypt? Do you think the city would look kind of like a Dark Elf city from Warhammer 40k? Well, I do think that, like, in the absence of gravity, like a subjective gravity and things, their fashions would become long, flowing things. So your individual Imaskari, first of all, they've got grey skin, like stone-like skin. This was their original adaptation to survive without natural sunlight. So they magically transform themselves at a genetic level. But they are human. I'm thinking they're slightly taller and elongated. And they wear sort of elaborate headdress. Hey, Bubble, how's it going? Because giant hats is the sort of thing that wizard kings would wear, for sure. With magical elements like floating rings around the top and ion stones. Well, maybe not ion stones because they were from Netheril originally. But floating crystals of some kind, maybe. And, of course, flowing capes and robes that extend down because they don't really need to land anywhere. That's not going to work, Cat. Really not. Although, thank you. Thank you for the internet views. So, very, very fanciful. You know, they pride themselves on not doing any physical labor, so it could be that their hands and gloves and things are entirely impractical. You know, with like finger extensions and things to aid in their spell casting. So almost, yeah, vampire-y in a way. Shrouded, like glittery, like the opposite of a cloudy wraith sort of thing. Lots of amulets and things. And then roby stuff coming off. And bejeweled and bedecked hands that are mostly just for casting spells. With very fanciful shoes. Yeah. So Deep Amascari would almost be like the Dabu from the city of Sigil. They float everywhere. They don't touch the ground. They don't deign to touch the ground. They just, everything is magic for them. Yeah. Yeah, the world's just a really, really, really big cat. Hello. She never does this, by the way. This is just solely for your benefit. Oh, there we go. She will bat the microphone with her ass, though. No, do not sit on the Do not sit on the keyboard. Hello. Hi. Oof. No, you can't sit on it. No. 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 Ow. Get off. Go on. She's very disruptive. Okay. Can they walk anymore? Yes, they can. So they wouldn't want to. They want to stay human, right? They're proud of their heritage, so they want to retain their primate qualities. Of course, returning to the prime material world would be like only if they have to. So I'm thinking that the ships that they travel around in possibly they don't have an upper deck sort of thing, so they'd be contained somehow. And then perhaps their sail style, because it's all about the surface area, would kind of mimic their fashion styles. So they have orbiting crystals around the front that are their sensory orbs. It's all magical, right? So the helm would be an individual floating in a chamber. And then the compartments beyond that would be chambers where things are like subjective gravity and things, with individuals flying, in different workstations, where up and down are confused. What did you miss? Lots, D-Buy. Arcane Zuma class to keep their muscles handsome. Yeah, well, of course, they can use magic to enhance their physical attributes as well. So they do everything with magic. Okay, so we got these ships, which are like pods. Ooh, and they're huge. Because when the Imaskari appear in the prime material plane, they want to be intimidating as hell. Like, they don't want to invite any sort of conflict. And of course, their construction yard would be massive portals to the different elemental planes and golems constructing everything. Great big, let's say they're monumental monolith golems. Obelisks that look like cubes. 2001 Space Odyssey style. How do you say Odyssey style golem construction units? And they are about, let's say, 400 feet tall and about 150 feet wide and about 50 feet deep. And they just operate by projecting energy fields. Big stone boys from Super Mario, yeah. Odyssey. That's pretty close. Was I even partway right there? Odyssey. I'm awful. Is it right? Odyssey? Space weirdness. Quest? Thing? Okay. That's good. So we've got these great big obelisk golems. and they just basically go flying around and beam elemental stuff directly from portals that are in the middle of this demiplane construction field. And of course, these things have the ability to just pass through the border ethereal, well, through the deep ethereal. They basically phase out of this demiplane. So it's almost like raw deep ethereal stuff here, a big floating space, and they drop out of the deep ethereal. So basically the border around this place would be the rainbow curtain. Ooh-wee. Rainbow. So their staging point goes anywhere that the rainbow curtain connects to. That is the entire prime material plane, all the inner elemental planes, and all demiplanes. Yep, it's another homebrew. It's true. Dalek style, yeah. I had it right the first time? Oh, damn. Easter Island, like, yeah. Oh, yeah, they could have faces. They could look like big Easter Island monuments. I like the idea of Gort from The Day the Earth Stood Still. Got to have some. Got to have a bit of classic Gort action going on. Ooh, intimidating. Nice. Great big massive flying heads. Show me what you've got. Exactly. Nice one, Mike. Instantly went there. How do the Imaskari deal with thought eaters? Essentially, they probably have some sort of construct. They're mechanically minded. They're artificers, right? So any problem they have, it's a combination of magic and technology. But their technology is augmented by magic, so it's not so much highly complex. It's crystals and things which can contain permanent magic effects. Disable it with a pack of bubblegum, yeah. You should draw. You should draw every day. Okay, so we've got two of these places. So we've got Construction City, or the Construction Sphere. Or Construction Shipyard. But I mean, really, they could construct anything here. Buildings, other stuff. Okay, so the next one would have to be food, agriculture. Green fields, rolling landscapes of fantastical stuff that remind them of the prime material planes that they left behind, because they are still monkeys, primates. They need a bit of natural world. So instead of agriculture, like, you know, strictly regimented fields and things like that, it's really just a fairly wild landscape where everything is food. So a Willy Wonka-esque biological playground where they've just been breeding the perfect foods and everything. So they've got giant apples and cherries and all sorts of weird stuff. You know, they actually have bubblegum fruit and things like that. And of course, it's an ethereal plane, so break out these earthbergs. are also mountain ranges. So the landscape is, you can flip it over and on the other side people are snowboarding and skiing and enjoying an alpine landscape and trees and forests and things. So the world flips over. It's a beautiful farmland, an Eden. So the Eden sphere. And it's always daytime. I don't think I have a... So we've got multiple mini suns orbiting around. And we call this one let's call it the Biotopia Eden sphere. So it's like the Imaskari fanciful memory of what the prime material plane worlds used to be like. So they're floating around, they still don't have to touch the surface if they don't want to. And they can fly, they can zip from one side of it to the other and go to whatever environment they want. But it's a lush, Teletubbies style, perfect wildness where everything is safe, nothing harmful. Aarakocra Aztecs, I like it. Banana ice cream, yeah. Banana pudding. Yeah, it's always sunbathing time. Cherry pie ooze, mac and cheese ooze, banana bread golem. The food dimensions are endless. Yeah. Nicki Minaj statue in the middle? Horrific. Okay. So what else we got? We got our food basically taken care of there. Most of them, of course, can, and this would be the perfect one. We need specimens taken from all the other prime material planes that they have gone to, or prime material world spheres. So we need the menagerie, and this would be just a mass of demiplanes, a mass of demiplanes. Thousands and thousands of demiplanes. And each one contains a terrarium-like environment specifically designed, like a domain of dread, to hold the specimens from that sphere that they have investigated, perhaps invaded, taken what they wanted from it. Curios, weapons, freaks, wonders, horrors, curiosities, slumbering threats and dangers. The collection. Collection of primes. Seriously need a university, though. That is a good idea. A body of learning and architecture. Well, that could be the center. See, the most precious thing to them would be their technology, and their seat of power would be those who have the most arcane knowledge. So in the center, basically, would be one great edifice. One great, huge edifice. in the form of a D8, of course. Could be a D20. Could be multiple shapes. Center. And that, of course, is linked by all of these portals which connect these other staging areas. Might not necessarily link to each one of them. Would certainly link to the garden area, that's for sure. Would have your Starbucks. There we go. And that is permanently encased in massive prismatic walls. Whoa. We're talking, look out the window too long and you get a suntan. Yeah, they hated the gods. So this area, this basically is all like anti-god scrying, and that in particular is just nothing goes in or out of there communication-wise. Yeah, the Eldrazi from Magic the Gathering. Yep. Those shapes. Perfect. It's actually constantly changing shape. This is just a freeze frame. Ooh, that's a good idea. I like it. Starbucks coffee is very, very sweet. That's for sure. I don't know how they deal with the huge roaming cat beast. Don't sit on the keyboard, man. You'll end my stream. Yeah. Dad's working. No, you can't see. No. Please. She's going to get angry and bite me. Dad is working. It's true. She's not a lap cat. She's like a crawl up in your face cat. No, don't smooch the microphone. Honestly. Cat Thulu. Giant space cat. Sit on the keyboard. Do it. No, she'd just end the stream. Be like, book. Go on. Okay. Now. So this is their center of learning, but not necessarily their center of governance. And I'm thinking that they probably, along with the collection of the primes and the Bitopia Eden Sphere, they probably need some sort of other entertainment. Could it be something savage, like a combat arena, like a hologram? So it makes fake environments. Holodeck. Bismuth crystals. Ooh, yeah. The Yule Cat, yeah. Do the Deep Amascari demiplanes stay in contact with each other, or are they more isolated? I think they're more isolated. Like each family would be like a famous arc wizard would build his domains, and they are to his liking. So each domain demiplane is a thanks, Morgan. The cat is the only good god they worship out of fear. So each demiplane is a mansion. So each demiplane is a room that they go to. A steampunk mech battle arena. That's cool. It could be that. It could be that they have doomsday weapons of some kind, like planetary sphere masses of elemental matters, like an iron sphere. Like they could capture one of the battle spheres of Acheron, for instance. They could have a gas giant with many moons. They could have a mini star that they perform experiments with. It's also got planets orbiting around it. Planet workstations, you know. They could have a few of these big spheres. Borg cubes. Yeah, these could be like Borg cubes that are just completely full. By the way, the size is objective, so this is massive compared to these other ones. Maybe size is all, you know, objective. So these could be like Borg cubes that are full of construction fleets. They could have captured and disabled clouds of clockwork horrors, and then again contained in a planar sphere or a prismatic sphere of some kind. Yeah, so it's a collection of massive cosmic artifacts that are also like, if you drop one of these onto a planet, it's devastation time. Yeah, replace mechanical technology with magical technology, basically. No, you can't. No. Ooh, sea trolls. I like it, John. Maybe there's some underground rogue faction which is formed by disgruntled citizens whose intelligence status is not high enough to cast spells and thus discriminated against. Well, the question would be, what's their attitude towards time and the natural process of life? Like, how far away from living 200 years or so as a human have they deviated in the length of time they've been here? Now, of course, time is subjective inside these demiplanes as well. So it could be that time is slower or faster depending on which one you go to. So it could be that this last one is a hyperchamber full of individual citadels, which sort of mimic the central spire. Floating around in their own solitude, like daggers in space. Each one of those is a research wizard tower, essentially. And they have control over all of the physical elements in here. So this is your holographic chain, your chamber of physics, or chamber of dangerous experiments, dangerous studies, and this is your cosmic collection. Okay, so yeah, pretty good. We've got our shipyard. We've got our monumental city of crystal and gold. We've got our central spire of all of their archives of knowledge and learning. This could also be where the most powerful elites live and operate, and it's separated from all the rest. It's not accessible so it's in a buffer zone, which is not accessible from the Deep Ethereal It's not accessible from the astral plane. You can only reach it through these portal gates, and they can close them down from the inside, so they can completely block themselves off. Like their mastery of cosmic physics is such that they can just cinch themselves off away from the multiverse. They've got a chamber of dangerous studies where these wizard-like towers can alter time and space around themselves. So you could experience a huge disconnect, like where you every day is 100 years inside this tower here. This tower here has got 50 times Earth gravity. This one is, negative is positive and positive is negative. They have lich experimental studies. They have, all sorts of things. Captured rabbits from the plane of positive energy. Well, who knows? The Cosmic Collection is cosmic threats, Tarrasques, giant space planets, mini suns and stars, spheres from Acheron, a warded collection of clockwork horrors, you name it. Giant cosmic collection that if anything in there gets pulled through into the prime material plane, it's going to be like a tropals, god planets, floating dead gods, god heads. And if anything from in there gets pulled through into the prime material plane, it's going to be fun times for everybody. The collection of primes is mini crystal sphere terrariums that contain all the different samples from different prime material worlds and crystal spheres that they've gone to and investigated and brought back samples. That's their grab bag of raw materials. And here is the Bitopia Eden sphere, where they've taken all the best things that they've found in nature and they've created a physical paradise for themselves where everything is safe and edible and delicious. It's the resort, tropical nature resort of your wildest dreams, which provides plentiful amounts of foods and stuff for all of the Imaskari when they like eating natural stuff, because they don't like, having to create magical food all the time. Then they have the construction shipyard, which contains vast petal ships that look like sort of seed pods that are enclosed in super strong materials, probably crystal of some kind, with floating crystals around the outside which form a sensory network, and these great big veins of crystal from the outside, which is their defensive network that can give off like energy fields and things like that, but also is their means of propelling themselves in traditional Spelljammer fashion. They barely even need thrones, the helm inside the Spelljamming ship, because they have their own arcane technology for travel. So that, I think, is a pretty good fantasy city of Deep Imaskari. Yep, pretty good. What do you reckon? Well, when you think about it, this would really look like fantastic Christmas decorations. All these shining baubles of different colours, as far as the eye could see. If you graduate university with a degree in lich science with a focus on undead nutrition. Fantastic. Time for a sip of coffee. Let's switch back to our regular scheduled program. All right. Now, I made a post on Facebook that was copy pasted from a comment that I made in response to a question on one of the my last ethereal video, which was basically my view on what's gone wrong with 5th edition. I bear in mind, there's nothing wrong with 5th edition systematically. It's a fantastic role-playing game. I really like it. Lich brew coffee, yeah. Undead beans. And I was overly critical of Jeremy Crawford in a professional sense, in that I didn't like the way that they were cherry picking popular elements of the old edition settings and source books and stuff from Dungeons and Dragons, and then basically putting out a crappy version of it. This, the Journal of Minsk and Boo's Journal of Villainy, by the way, really bad title, right? Because we've got Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, and in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, what you definitely should have seen is the fucking Demodans. Now, the Demodans are a major fiendish race who are in opposition to the Yugoloths. They barely get a mention in this. They don't even describe what the third kind of Demodans look like. So we've got a picture here of two of the kinds who are torturing a humanoid here in Karseri, the Tartarian depths of Karseri. And we've basically got that much lore, right, which is barely adequate, doesn't even mention the Baneloths, doesn't mention the one that created them, just talks about the artifacts that they created, doesn't give them a reason for existing in the first place, and then it's 3 sets of stat blocks. Dry as a bone. With a couple of, like, a quote from Volo and a quote from Minsk and Boo. Minsk and Boo. It's shit. Like, the artwork and stuff in this book is fantastic. They've got some great planner villains in there that get more attention for sure, but the Demodans most definitely operate as a mercenary force in opposition to the Yugoloths, so they most certainly should have been in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, because Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes was about planner threats. Demodans are planner threats. Here's an example of what a Demodan is like. If you are walking by a Demodan in the city of Athkatla, for instance, in Arm, he's there on business. He's there to basically collect a soul and take it to a prison forever. And he happens to see you. And maybe gets your name or something like that. You do something that attracts his attention in any sort of way. Then, one day, many years later, you meet another Demodan somewhere else, and these are also called Geths or Geroleths. You meet another one somewhere far distant, and it recognizes you and says your name and winks and says, "We remember you from the streets of Athkatla." And it's like all of them know you now. That's the scary thing about Demodans, is they share the memory through these artifacts that they carry, and they remember everything from the beginning of time. So the very beginning, the first world, they were there when the first world was around. They still remember it. Yeah, monsters of the multiverse. Seriously, Kat. she is just relentlessly trying to get, like, hey, pay attention to me. Stop talking to nobody. Hi. Yeah. Ooh, you're being moody. Tell you what, you go outside again. Let's go. She's just coming to say hi. Yeah, to pick a Demodan's brain. But the problem is, of course, is that Demodans were produced by the Baneloths. The Baneloths were like, in the first world, when evil existed, they sort of manifested for no reason at all. And that's one of the things that frustrates people when I was talking about the Baneloths, is like, why are they evil? They don't feel anything. Why do they do bad things? It's like, it's because they're neutral evil. In essence, they are just evil for evil's sake. And that's frustrating for some people. Like my English teacher back in school didn't understand Iago's motivations for why he was being mean to Othello, why he was trying to destroy Othello's life. And I said, because he's an evil prick that got off from destroying this guy's life. And it's like, why? I said, yeah. Apomps, that's it. Yeah, Apomps was the Baneloth, their lord that created them. So the Baneloths were saying, okay, we need a servitor race of some kind. We need minions. We need our own version of angels. And so they created the Yugoloths eventually. But one of them, Apomps, went off and he created his own race at great expense to himself, called the Demodans. Conflict in the city for narrative. Yes. Well, Deep Amascari, of course, is it's all of the politics of very inbred, old money, rich, decadent people who will do anything for their own entertainment. So they have ennui. They're constantly fighting against boredom with their own ability to create anything. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? So their decadence and their fashions and their clothing and consumption and things like that would be shocking and weird. Like they've been by themselves, cut off from the rest of humanity for a very long time. Thousands of years. Long enough for them to have some very strange ideas. Of course, they're not overly religious, but their decadence could have extreme nuance. Like they may go hunting for a feast of nothing but the last of a species of whatever worlds they've gone and visited. So it's a feast of the last things. So creatures that are going to go extinct when you eat them would be standard fare for back in the 18th century, whatever it was, 17th century, they used to hire pineapples because pineapples were so rare that they were seen as a status symbol if they were on your banquet table. Nobody ate them. They'd pay hundreds of dollars to have them there just as a status symbol. Thanks, Tony. We will never again rise to the glory that was 3rd edition's Forgotten Realms campaign setting like books from official Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, so really... This is the campaign setting book that I use for Forgotten Realms, and any of the new stuff which has come out from the actual writers, like the Borderlands around the Lake of Steam, and I've just gotten Rashomon, and stuff like that. That's pretty good stuff. Those are good. Border Kingdoms was pretty good. Yeah, Demodans are like Atlas and how they remember everything. Well, they don't personally remember everything. Their artifacts remember everything. So those little triangular obsidian artifacts that they carry, those are how they remember things. Of course, you pick those up. Yeah, Border Kingdoms. You pick those up and try and use them, and you're flooded with the madness of the Demodans. Is there any use at all? Yes, there are. AJ would recommend researching a rat utopia for inspiration for the ennui of the deep Imaskari. Welcome back, Moonring. Do Demodans involve themselves in the Night Hag soul trade? No, they do not. So they are in opposition to the Yugoloths. The Yugoloths were created when the Baneloths went to the Night Hags and said, take our essence and create a race for us from them. And in that race, we want them to be controllable. So all of the Yugoloths were given true names, and the true names were recorded by the Night Hags in these books. So anybody who had those books could control and command the Yugoloths. If you don't have the true name of the Yugoloth, then it works for coin, and it doesn't care where that coin comes from. So it's neutral evil in that it doesn't care who its master is or what it's working for. It doesn't care whether its actions benefit or greatly damage the multiverse. They do not care. They like evil. They like greed. They like manipulation for manipulation's sake. Nothing pleases them more than Schadenfreude, as seeing the downfall of other creatures through the greed and aspirations. So pride attracts them like moths to a flame. Yeah, everyone's part of the Night Hag soul trade. So the Demodans have taken it upon themselves. So they got exiled to Karseri because they were seen as too chaotic, too self-motivated, too loyal to Apomps. And they were then put in charge of torture and keeping people imprisoned in Karseri, and they basically consider it to be theirs now. So the infinite prison of Karseri, where titans and primordials and stuff are trapped forever, and they are the jailers. Now there's rumors that there's a set number of them, so there's 3,333 of each type of the demodans, but that's just, who knows. Oh, the Mimic, yeah. The thing with the Mimic, hang on, I'll turn on the other light here briefly, if I can. I don't know if I can. Can I? Can I? I've rearranged all my cords. I can't reach it. Where is it? Cannot do it. Oh, hang on, there it is. Oof. It's a bit hard to see, but if you pay very close attention to the Mimic, the eyes are actually glossy. Oh, you can't really see it. In real life, oh boy. In real life, the light sort of gleams off this epoxy layer. You can just sort of see it in the reflection of my finger moving over that red one there. It looks more realistic in real life, those eyes, because of that sheen over the iris and pupil, and the rest of the eye is matte white. The teeth can also be sheened up a bit with some epoxy. What is the lore of a morphling? I don't know. Haven't researched that yet. What are some cool master wizard names? Names that flip back on themselves. Rilithane Relithol. Ibriel Lalabul. Agfar Thalam. Xerxes Sesaskara. Nebrixel Rarekrul. Or like, the more famous they are, the shorter their name becomes. So the Wizard X. Many machines on X's sphere. What is X planning? Malana Analem. Bob. Borb. The Wizard Borb. Everybody knows Bob, yeah. Didn't he create the infinitely refilling flask of different drinks every time? Merlin the Wise, yeah. There should be an outside threat as well. Well, we've got the denizens of the Deep Ethereal, and of course those who would come to steal their secrets. Wizzy Dowers. Max Zam, I like it. Ayo. Taken the name of the realm they came from. So the collections of primes, all of those crystal spheres that they create, the terrariums, could also be like, prison breaks from those places. Hey, thanks, Tony. Happy holidays, Lawmaster. When is Miska the Wolf Spider getting out? Oh, you mean like me producing a video on it? I would say soon. The demodans are going to be interesting because I'm going to depict it starts off with, I'm writing the script now, it starts off with the story of when the sage is leaving the city of Athkatla, and he sees one of these most decadent, a decadent fool, and he says he's bound, he's destined for Carcery. You can just tell that's a soul that is going to stalk the lower planes. Yeah, magic spy games. Yeah, for sure. Subterfuge, assassination would be the only way to get ahead, right? Classic Ankh-Morpork Wizard Academy, Unseen University. Thanks, Zoic Boots. You think that higher power is Ed Greenwood, for sure. Eric Greenwood, Eric Boyd, George Krashos, Monty Cook, Bruce Cordell, various others, luminaries, still producing Forgotten Realms lore. Are there lower planes in this world? No, this is demiplanes. Demiplanes are within the Deep Ethereal, completely under their control. I'm not familiar with Dragon Age. Question, would it be possible to play D&D as Yamato no Orochi, and how would it work? I have no idea who that is. Yeah, there's probably, most certainly there would be an Assassin's Academy. They're like, if they are specialists in going to planes of existence where they sneak in, steal things they want, and take them back to their refuge. So they would basically show up and take stuff, right? So those who venture out would be ranger, assassin, rogues who specialize in divination to find the things that they want, and then they would sneak in through the border ethereal or teleport using planar teleportation technology, zip in there like Mission Impossible and grab it and zip away again into the deep ethereal. You'd never know they were there. An 8-headed snake from mythology, but we already have hydras. Yeah. Okay. The collectors, yeah. Could I do a video recapping Planescape Torment? I've never actually played Planescape Torment. I know the basic bones of it, but I'm not an expert on that. Yes, they could use Dream Realms that way too. So you could have specialists who go into stasis to dream for extended periods of time, and they have been trained from birth to lucid dream. So they can produce even more fantastical environments without using any normal resources within their own dream realms, and others could operate inside those dream realms as well, where they have no physical danger to themselves because they are dream stuff. The Hydra's cute and cuddly. Maybe, no. Yeah, we always need more Hydras. Kitten Hydras. Halfling assassins would be the best. No one suspects a halfling. Pixies, right? Pixie assassins. Krakens are cute too. Could be. Nah. Okay. Yeah, very Inception. What's the non-Imaskari population, minuscule or considerable? Minuscule, because they probably recognize that their downfall was taking slaves from other worlds. The reason why they did that in the first place is because they were devastated by a plague and they actually had a massive labor shortage. So they brought in humans from other planes of existence and enslaved them. Slavery, of course, back then was more common in Toril. Well, there's still slavery around in Toril. Varguil hydras. So just floating heads, a collection of floating heads. So they probably recognize that enslaving other beings was probably a bad idea. They don't want gods and stuff coming in and sniffing around their business. So they probably just create artificial beings. Collecting and studying Warforged from Eberron and now the Forgotten Realms and other places would probably be a high priority. And the idea of when their flesh weakens, instead of becoming liches, they could become something else. Like they learn what their Golra of their soul is, right? Their true name Golra, and then they transfer that onto a Warforged body and capture their soul before it transfers into the ethereal plane and goes on to the afterlife. So they actually incarnate themselves as Warforged wizards once they die. Thanks, Mukau. Yeah, you can play as anything in D&D depending on your DM, of course. And I fully encourage you to do so. Shrieking Horror. You got fatigued from lucid dreaming. Interesting. Hey, Andreas. Would there be pests in that city? Yeah, like thought eaters and ethereal filches and things. Like, you know, ethereal filches come and steal stuff. The Warforged resurrected could form the military elite. Yeah. Isn't that a terrifying thought? Just like the dreadnoughts from Warhammer 40k. They live to serve the state. A rogue acrobat, yeah. That operate in an environment where gravity is subjective. Nice, Ratch. Nice to see you, Ratch. All right, everybody. I think that's pretty much us for this stream. Just a short 1 hour and 20 minutes one. But I think we covered it. We've made a pretty interesting plane to think about, for sure. And a possible deep Imaskari. I quite enjoyed it. And I imagine this will be our last stream before Christmas. So happy holidays, everybody. Are there mechs in D&D? Yep, there have been from the very get-go. I was looking at the white box set, the original D&D white box set, and it says golems, robots, androids. So golems and robots are synonymous. They're the same thing in Dungeons & Dragons. So Warforged are living robots. They have souls in them. Could next live stream be a dungeon making live stream? Yes, it can. Yep, we've gone worlds, cities, now structures. I think that makes sense. Yeah, I like that idea, Euthanasia. The tattoos that denote rank and credit, their rank and their credit score. Of course, what need would they have in a post-scarcity environment for money? Space is at no premium because they can just create more space. They can create more resources. It could be that knowledge is really the only currency. Creativity is the only currency. When you can have everything, all you really need is new ideas. Yeah, people think it isn't science fantasy. It definitely is. Always has been. Evil clowns, zombies, and cyborgs are the same thing. All right. And that's it from me. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you again very soon.